Hello friends, we have today with us architect Manoj Daisaria ji. Welcome sir. Manoj ji is a renowned architect in the city of Mumbai. He is an epitome of architectural landscape, a name which has been so much attached with designing, even planning for regulatory and for government, helping them out in terms of framing their rules and their policies. So he has been a tall tree which has seen various generations of real estate since ages. So welcome sir. Daisaria Associates has been there in advising in terms of architectural advice since 1959 and having advised more than 150 million square feet of construction in the city. So to begin with sir, we would like to understand your journey after completing your education. What made you actually get into continuing with your legacy of architecture, and what were the challenges at that time in terms of architectural practice, and what were the challenges you face today?
Deepak ji, thank you very much. When I joined architecture in 1977, urban land ceiling had been imposed in 1976, and my dad, even though he had an architectural office, he was hardly having two jobs in hand. So I asked him, okay, Papa, you have only two jobs and you're asking me to join architecture. If I join, then ultimately how we will survive? So he gave me only one answer. You see, real estate is one of the necessity. It is roti, kapda or makan. And makan is an important aspect in everybody's day-to-day life. And in developing country, there is not going to be any shortage for work. I remember his day, and it has been true after 50 years. Today, I think India is booming with real estate development, and we are having shortage of houses. So once I completed my architecture and I joined him, in those times, 7-storied was treated as a tower. Oh, it is a lift building. So we all felt we are constructing a tower, we were taking our relatives and traveling in that lift. How a vertical transport can be there. Super. So from that journey, now we are seeing, super speed lift also available, escalators, car lifts have come, but they are too far less. All towers are going 20-storied and above to consume whatever the FSI is there. So real estate is a interesting field. Every day you create something, and every property is different, every client is different, every requirement is different, every occupant is different. So it is challenging, and I love this profession. Absolutely, there is no stagnation. We have to be updated every day in and day out.
So which was your first building which you actually did the architectural design? Which one is your favorite?
I had planned in 1984-85 Nilkant project, Nilkant Nilayam. We did it in Chembur, where there were 12 row houses and one residential tower. Tower, I am saying, still plus 7-storied. We were terming it as a tower. Now, the 12 row houses were sold at a premium because in those times the standard of living should be if somebody has more money, he has to stay in a bungalow, in a row house. And that was how it was. And another building I put up in Ghatkopar, where in those times we had cladded that building with marble. Today also that building looks as fresh as when it was constructed.
Super. So name of the building is?
Rajeshri Palace.
Okay.
In Ghatkopar East. It's a small building, hardly 500 square meter plot, only 5 floors, one flatter floor. But today also that building stands out.
Super. Sir, you have been authority in terms of understanding DCPR regulation. We would like to understand from you, particular DCPR regulation gives a developer the maximum FSI utilization.
Now, as far as absorbing or understanding the regulation, we have also learned a hard way. In the regulation or any law book, comma has got a meaning, semicolon has got a meaning, full stop has a meaning. So all those things nobody had taught us in the college. How there can be multiple interpretation of one regulations. And so honestly, I love to interpret regulations and implement that and convince the authorities so that we can get maximum returns to the developer. Now, in 2018, the new DCPR has come. There is a buffet of FSI, I would always term that. And as we go for a dinner, there is a huge spread. Right from soup, salad, main course, dessert, all things are there. But what we choose? We choose what is healthy for us, what we can consume, and what is conducive to us. The similar is the FSI. So which you can digest, which you can absorb, and which you can implement. So all these issues are there. Of course, government has given wonderful regulations by way of DCPR 2034, and one has to select what is good for him. Every year, when I joined my profession, only there were two costs. One was the land cost, one was the construction cost, remaining was the profit. There was no other dynamics in that. Now the issue is, here a lot of dynamics have come in. There is a TDR cost, there is a premium cost, there is licensing cost, there are construction costs, interest costs. When I began my profession, interest cost was never in the calculation, because the developer, they had their own money and they were constructing, so there was no interest cost. Okay, they were selling it to investors at a lesser price, but there was no external borrowing as such. But now external borrowing is an important aspect in any project. So if the projects are not going to be commercially viable, whatever FSI architect proposes is not going to work out. So that has to be worked out in such a way that the whole project cost is to be worked out. Now the buildings go on to the drawing board later. First it goes through the Excel sheet, and the dynamics are to be carried out. So now architectural profession will have to have one finance as a subject also. Then only architect will be able to give a good feasibility report.
True. But when you actually look upon the DCPR, there are so many restrictions, height restrictions and all. So one should probably look into those restrictions and make the most use of it in terms of utilizing the best possible area.
So as you, Deepak ji, rightly says, potential is now based on the road width. So as the road width keeps on going, getting larger, you get more FSI. So the government's idea was to have lesser density on a smaller road and higher density on a higher road. So it works fine. Of course, some property may be at a disadvantage, but some other regulations, they cover up whatever is not being allowed in one regulation. For example, now if you are going for a simple TDR proposal, 27 meter and above, you get 2.5 FSI. But suppose you are on a 12 meter road, you get only 2.2 FSI. Now you want to capitalize more because it is not working out feasible. There are existing tenants there, existing members there. There are landowner is asking for XYZ money. So how we capitalize? So 4 FSI is permitted under 3311, where a permanent transit cam is proposed. You get straight 4 FSI. In that, clubbing provision is there. You can club it with any other inferior location where PTC can be shifted, and whole 4 of FSI can be for sale. So now straight from 2.2 you have shifted to 4.
Right.
Plus the fungible 1.35. So it becomes 5.4 and something. So that is one part. Now this is in planning authority is SRA. Now you go to corporation. There also 3320B they have introduced, wherein also similar regulations are permitted. Now if the plot size is larger, obviously you can go for cluster, but for cluster minimum road width is 18 meters, but in some of the cases now for even 12 meter roads 4 FSI is permitted. Of course, if that building is for commercial, you can go in for 3319, that is the CBD FSI. So according to the criteria, the place, your plot location, one can decide how to maximize the potential. Ultimately, see, if the project is feasible financially, then only project will take off.
Absolutely.
So how you make it feasible, because how to capitalize more and more FSI, or considering the criteria in which the plot is situated.
so many societies are there. I mean, typical of Mumbai, where there are so many societies, and we are looking at redevelopment of various societies. In fact, recently government is also coming society self-redevelopment as well. What would be your piece of advice to various societies when they actually appoint a PMC or let's say a developer, so as to ensure that none of these projects start PMCs?
So now, Deepak, basic issue is, where to stop the greed. Societies are becoming more greedy and greedy. Some fly-by-night developer giving more additional benefits, and the reputed one giving the lesser one. So that it has to be looked into. Unfortunately, for the developers, there is no CRISIL rating. There has to be a CRISIL rating so that even if you book a hotel room from booking.com, there is a star rating 4, 3, 4.2, 4.5. So you know you don't want to go below 4. So you select a hotel which is giving more than 4 stars. So now, if the developer is good and reputed, you see their past track record, and the most important criteria is whether all permissions are in place when you vacate your premises. If this is a one-liner, if every society follows it, I don't think any societies will go wrong. Then only construction remains, all permissions are in place. It can be high-rise approval, it can be CFO, fire brigade NOC, it can be MOEF NOC, purchasing of TDR, it can be purchasing of premium FSI, whatever it is. I know the investment initial will be much for a developer. But if you want to look into the safety of the society, this has to be sacrosanct. And corporation has come out with the installment facilities for premiums. The staircase premium, the premium FSI, the fungible FSI. There are installments at 10% one can start the project. Right. So by payment of 10%, you can avail of that installment facility so that the project cost, initial project cost can be brought down. Up to now, I have followed this for last 20 years whenever I am doing a redevelopment, and proudly I can say none of the projects which has started, it has stopped, and we have delivered it in a scheduled time, because then only finance is required for construction.
Absolutely.
So construction is a very small component in the entire project feasibility. Maybe 3,500, maybe 4,000, maybe 4,500. Now, if you're selling your product at 35, 40,000, it is 10% of the project of the sale price. So that definitely one can recover that money out of the sales. Or there are institutions who are funding for the construction.
True.
So project cannot fail if you follow these criteria.
I must say you have given a buffet of thought to rating agencies. I'm sure CRISIL will take note of what you have said with regard to rating of developers and all. And as a matter of fact, rating agencies do rate projects, but it's not mandatory. I said, in terms of this whole regulatory environment, we have seen that there has get stuck for long. So we have seen sometimes from the municipal part or from the state government, or sometimes central government, or sometimes even it could be court of law. So you think that the regulatory environment needs to change so that a developer can plan out his thing in a much better way, and home buyers can get their flats in due course of time?
So as I said, suppose all permissions are in place and then only you vacate your premises, that issue is not there. Because regulations, unfortunately, in a developing are changing. Of course, we have been suggesting to the authorities that there has to be a window period where no regulation will be amended for at least 5 years. So somebody can plan their building considering whatever the regulations are there. Number one. Number two, even ready reckoner rates should be frozen for 5 years. Suppose if I am evaluating a project today and launching a project after 2 years, and 20% ready reckoner rates have gone up, my whole project feasibility goes for a toss. Just because the authorities have not given me permission for 1 year, my project cost has increased. Now who has to bail that cat? Because the developer has already given their offer, best offer to the society. The percentage of extra area, the corpus or rent or whatever it is, that is not going to change. And if the ready reckoner rates keeps on going, how a developer can evaluate the total project cost. So if you have a window period of say 25 to 30, it will be frozen, you don't increase. So that suggestion should be taken by the authorities, and it will facilitate the developers. Okay, get this price are frozen, I can put up a project in between that period.
True. Great, sir. Which particular, what would be your advice in terms of the first time buyers, or let's say a home buyer to going for, and also in terms of areas for investors also within the city of Mumbai, where do you think probably are the best upcoming areas from your perspective?
See, Bombay has grown so big. Every suburb, if you compare, it is like a two-tier city in India.
True.
Now, population of 10 to 12 lakh in Ghatkopar or 10 to 12 lakh in Borivali is a two-tier city itself.
Right.
So, we term it as a Mumbai, but every suburb is a two-tier city.
Right.
And the facilities, and because of the infrastructure so rapidly developing, now everything is near now.
Right, sir.
Because of the coastal road, now Bandra to Nariman Point is just 15 minutes away. And from Borivali, now once that coastal road starts, even from Borivali, coastal road will take you in half an hour. So everything is going to be very fast approachable. Home buyer needs to see where is his workplace and how much is his traveling distance from his home to workplace, because that is going to be important, because Bombay's traffic is increasing day by day. Parking is going to be an issue, whether you are near to the metro station or the main station or coastal road, anywhere you are. Because now if you see, practically all suburbs are having a similar rates, at least in suburbs.
True.
So it is in the range of say 20,000 to 40,000. Most of the suburbs, 80% of the suburbs are falling in that category. We leave out the seafront houses or lakefront houses. Otherwise, the rates are normally at par.
And for investors, I mean, which
Investors, honestly, where you get more money. So, I mean, that is how the things are.
Navi Mumbai, I mean, the new airport which is coming up.
New airport is coming up very nicely, but the rates are already shot up. A lot of clusters are coming up. So once the clusters are coming up, even though that may be in a congested locality presently, if there is a cluster development, you will have a better planning.
Right.
And you don't need to leave that place just because it is congested presently. All suburbs are booming. Now though I think Island City is doing good because CRZ norms have been relaxed in 2019. So all coastal fronts are going to be a big area, and you are already seeing the boom in seafront houses.
Good. So watch out, investors. I mean, the piece of advice from Manoj ji. You have already said that for societies and all, it's important to have the finance tied up. So in the journey of a real estate project, there are so many elements. There's an element of design, there's an approvals, then the construction part, then of course the sales part. So where do you find really the finance? I mean, how important is finance for you in terms of this whole part?
Finance is absolutely an important aspect. Now, no project in Mumbai is less than 100 crore rupees before you start. And I don't think the B category developers, they have that bandwidth. And we are seeing almost 1/3 of the project cost goes in the premiums only.
Right.
And that is before one starts actually the sale.
Right.
Because as you know, RERA also registers after you have received the commencement certificate. So before commencement certificate, 1/3 of the project cost is already deployed in the project. And then you require again the construction finance also. So whether it is the institutional finance, whether it is through banks, whether it is through a private finance, finances are important. But now investors have dried out because one major dampener is stamp duty and the GST. So investors, he is down on the first day by 11%, 6% stamp duty and 5% GST. So that's why the developers fall back on institutional finance as such, and that is very important aspect. And definitely the guys who have credibility, they get this finance easily, and those who are performing well, they get this finance. And to answer your question, finance is absolutely essential in a real estate.
So I'd actually asked government to also extend their GST cut to real estate as well, so that there's some benefit to. Sir, my last question. I got to know that your son also has joined or carrying the legacy which you are continuing with. So, what would be your advice to the real estate or architecture is a good career option?
Absolutely. Because we know only one thing, that is architecture, architecture and architecture. So my both the sons fortunately are into real architecture, that is designing part and conceptualizing the projects and all. And they are also passionate about their work. And the industry in real estate, you will never stagnate. There is everything, every day something new is coming out, either in construction technology, in the design, and how people want to live now after COVID. The fantastic criteria has crept in. Okay, we want a balcony.
Mm-hmm.
Without balcony, you cannot sell a flat. Okay, either it can be a balcony or it can be a deck, and that is the place people love. New generation definitely should think of real estate. Either they can be developer, or they can be architect, or they can be designers, anything.
Thank you so much, sir. So I have one more. I have got a Gen Z with me. So she also had some questions for you. So I'll just request my colleague Shreya to also just ask some of her questions to you.
So sir, I would like to ask you one DCPR rule that you would like to change.
Change means, see, Bombay is a different city as such. There are many stakeholders involved. But I would like to suggest one thing to the authorities. There has to be one regulation and one window, so that people don't have to run from pillar to post for permissions. Today, the construction suppose takes 36 months. Now approval, if it takes 24 months, when a person will be able to complete in that time period? So once the approval process is expedited, and then only the development pace can pick up and we can deliver much faster to the end user.
A project that you admire in Mumbai.
See, Bombay is starved of land, I understand. But the one project which I love, where I stay also, so maybe I'm biased, but it is Hiranandani Gardens, Powai. It is so beautiful, 230 acres of land and all mixed development. There is not a single hawker in entire Powai. Okay, footpaths are 15 feet wide. A blind man also can walk. There are no hiccups. You can enjoy the gardens, lovely development, and Hiranandani sir has maintained so nicely. Not a single chapra has come on any balconies. He has developed that balcony concept 25 years before. He was so ahead of time. The parking which he has provided, today also it is adequate in considering the today's norms also. So he has tried to maintain the elevation. He has tried to give that lifestyle where people can enjoy their life. Ultimately, see why we earn money. We earn money to have a good lifestyle. And to have a lifestyle, you need to have a development like that. So you can enjoy, you can go for a walk, you can go to the restaurant, enjoy the amenities, other amenities in the layout. So it is fantastically planned. I would rate Hiranandani Gardens as the number one in Mumbai.
Question: one word to describe the current real estate market in Mumbai.
Absolutely booming, and I think by 2050, still population is going to increase because everybody is wanting to come to Mumbai. Because Mumbai's buzz is like that, nobody want to miss.
Okay.
It is a city of dreams, and nobody has been left high and dry in this city. The person who works, who does hard work, he will flourish.
Sir, what do you think that in the current real estate market, what shall people do? They should go for buying or renting?
It depends on individual pocket as such. So if I am coming from a small town and I am not used to Mumbai, I would venture for a rental premises. So I get used to whatever is in the surrounding, how it helps me, whether this location is good or that location is good. Once I fix up my mind, okay, this is the location where I want to stay, because that you need a hospital, you need the schools, you need entertainment areas. All those are also part of the life. And once I have settled down, maybe I can purchase to the best of the location. Because see, in India, buying a real estate is an emotional connect.
Correct.
So people want to attach, okay, it is my house. So my house, when it will become? When you own it,
Right.
not on the rent. So that is ultimately everybody's dream, to own a house. So that is how.
Thank you so much for taking out your time, and it is our honor to have you on our series which is called Your Story. Thank you so much for your
Pleasure.
time, sir.
It was nice talking to you.